Alright, so my testimony part two. Um, I'm still gonna keep it short because I do have a. Sorry about that. That was kind of an unnecessarily long yawn. It's like a quarter to 3 a.m. right now. Uh, Sunday, March 31st. So, yeah, the spell of hip hop. I was under the spell of hip hop. And, it's weird, but I always think it is. God says that, when He looks down at the earth, that men's thoughts are continually of evil, and it's true. You know, people think really nasty thoughts about each other, and I don't know. I mean, God obviously holds us to higher standards because He knows how He created us in the beginning. And even though in this generation we're so far removed from the purity of the Garden of Eden, but I guess when we fell from grace, we really, really fell. I mean, we are living in a fallen state, and it's designed that way, you know. But I don't know. I kind of look at it like, God's like, I know what I made was good, and it doesn't matter, how much darkness and evil is around the light, because I am light and love, and you came from me, and I created you. And you got to be careful with saying light and love because that's like a big new age term. But everything's been muddied and distorted here. So at the time, I used to always tell people this, like, people don't do drive-bys listening to like gospel music or like probably not even. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Probably not even like country music, but then again, I don't know. I'm sure music's been infiltrated on all levels. So these days, I actually try not to listen to music with lyrics. I try to just listen to music, like chill step. And I don't even know, like, I'm not promoting that any type of way because haven't really done my research on that. But, because there is some negative, acapellas and stuff that they probably incorporated to instrumental music. But there's also positive lyrics. And I definitely don't want to be talking too much about music because I have a horrible history of music here. 99% of the music I've made is been affected, by negative thinking, distorted thinking, and it's perpetuated, to a certain extent because when you enter the arena for whatever sport, you're playing that sport. So it really doesn't matter, like, if you have good intentions, you're in a dangerous sport to begin with. So you're going to take on some of that, overall energy, or be affected by the overall energy of that genre of music or the sport that you're in. And recently, I had to really check myself because me and my father and I actually were lifetime fans of boxing and the sport of boxing. And that kind of faded to the background when UFC came out, or mixed martial arts came out. And then me and my father were very drawn to that. And even up into his death every weekend, as a ritual. And I mean that, like, when you do something faithfully, like on a routine basis, it becomes a ritual. And I know my dad wasn't fully aware of it. And even though I'm pretty knowledgeable about these things, I still didn't fully grasp it. But it was just like I was talking to God tonight, and I was just like, man, I do understand why you would want to destroy us as a creation, because as hard as I try, I know that I'm a sinner on every single level. And there's not a day goes by that I'm not disgusted with myself. Like when I lay in bed at night and I review my activities of the day, and I review like encounters that I had with other people, it doesn't really matter how they treat me. I mean, in the moment, obviously I'm responded from the way I'm being treated. And so I have a very explosive, angry energy. There really is no hope for me. Like, I'm not going to be shocked whatsoever if I don't make it into heaven. I'm not going to be shocked. I deserve to go to hell. I know it. I know I'm an evil person. I know my thoughts are continually evil, and it's a real struggle for me to, I don't even want to say normal, because there's no normal positive behavior that I'm familiar with here. Like, I see people and I wonder, like, wow, man, I wish I was like that person. I wish I was genuinely a good person like that person. But I really don't know their thoughts, And if God says that man's thoughts are continually evil, I'm sure God knows best. I'm sure we're all actors here, on the stage, and we try to put our best foot forward. But all day long, even like when I Uber a lot, like I have to take breaks from having people in my car and having their energy in my car, and almost always it's kind of like a negative interaction. Like, one thing that kind of irritates me, like when I Uber, um, even though like now, like, and I'm talking about now as recently as like a couple of days ago. So I don't want anybody to think like, oh, this guy's like, a goody two shoes, because that's definitely not the case. It never was. It's just that I'm really trying to correct my defaults as a sinner, and it's virtually impossible. Like, the only way is Jesus. I mean, if I did not discover Jesus, or maybe if Jesus didn't discover me, I'm sure he's always knew about me, always, but obviously he's God, in the flesh, the Son of God. But he and the Father are one. A lot of people don't understand that either. Like, a lot of non-Christians, people from other religions, they're like, yeah, you guys worship the Trinity, and we believe in Islamic monotheism, and there's only one God. No, we believe that there's only one God too. But just like you can be a father and a brother and a husband, God can be God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So we don't want to have a one-dimensional mindset and just look at something from one perspective. Like, God can never be fully comprehended from our level, because we are created beings, and he's a self-existent and self-created being. And there's no beginning and end with him. There's a beginning for us. And before that, we were nothing. Like, so everything was created out of nothing, created out of darkness. So I guess it's kind of ironic that this video will be dark, and not have anything on it, unless you guys are like zooming in on me or whatever, and doing the contrast and light. Then you might be able to see me laying in bed right now. But anyways, I just woke up. I've been falling asleep around 10 p.m. I mean, every night, even if I don't want to. And I try to like stay up. At some point, I just get knocked out. But yeah, to continue with my testimony, like, um, And I just want to clarify, like, I'm not trying to bash or hate on anybody in this video, like none of my loved ones or anybody that was close to me, because I understand without all of these individuals, without all of this pressure and bullying and harassment and just being picked on like my whole life, um, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So, everything does happen for a reason. I definitely did not understand it, but I think since I had such a volatile nature and terrible temper, that the best thing for me was to get backed into a corner constantly, because then you can't fight the world. And I'm definitely one of those people that will try. I will try to attack everybody who attacks me. I grew up that way. I grew up getting jumped like by groups of people. So I was constantly trying to fight groups of people. It was never one-on-one fights with me. And it, it's just like, I don't know. I can't. It's hard to describe this to people who don't grow up this way. And I hate to say like grow up in the streets like that, but really it is like that is what it is. It is what it is. And I think I identify with people that grew up like this. Um, I was really distraught because, you know, I had intentions of trying to make it out of the hood, out of the ghetto, out of poverty. And a friend of mine, Dink Williamson, told me, he was like, Illy, because Illy is like my nickname. I actually don't respond to Jupe. A lot of people call me Jupe, and actually it irritates me. I never liked that. It's always been like annoying. Like now that I'm older, I'm like just trying to not correct people on it. So when people come up with that nickname for me, I I kind of just allow it because, like I said, um, I'm trying to change. I'm not trying to be like this person that's hypersensitive and always on edge. But if you poke an animal in the forest with a stick its whole life, it's going to be extremely ferocious around anybody. It's not going to like being around people. It's not. I mean, if you're mistreated by people, you begin to hate people. And that hasn't changed with me. Like I'm trying hard to change. That's like I said, it'd be a miracle if I make it to heaven. Because if I'm here during the Great Tribulation, when all of these bad things are predicted to happen, like people killing each other over bottled water, then I'm definitely going to die in a murderous way. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to come out of the tribulation unscathed. You know what I mean? Like this is my last shot here. And it's scary for me. People are like, "Oh, he's doing all this stuff thinking he can get into heaven with good works." Like, it's once saved, always saved. All you have to do is believe that Jesus Christ is your Savior and you're good. And then you can continue to live life the way you want to live. I disagree entirely with that. You know, I do agree that you can't get into heaven on based off good works. Nobody can. And when you get to heaven, that's a good thing because nobody can brag, or boast about, well, I made it here because I was just a good person. Like God said, none are righteous. Like nobody here is righteous. None of us are. And God knows best. I mean, it's God. You know what I mean? Like He knows. He's like, I look at him like a beautiful, just like the most beautifully perfect DJ that ever existed. Like just like the cosmic DJ. Like my friend Pep, Mixmaster Pep, good guy. We bump heads a lot in life, and he actually used to bash me when I was younger for being like trying to find God, and trying to seek spirituality, and he didn't know, he didn't know how I grew up. He really doesn't, he never really understood that, Even now, he's like 50 something years old and he still listens to Moneybag Yo. He's like a young guy, but he did a lot of time in prison and he's a good dude. But he definitely never really fully extended the friendship to me like he did with other people that really treated him dirty. I mean, there's a lot of people around him. He gambles for a living and he'll win and he'll go give them money. And I'm like, man, I wish he would give me some money. I've even asked him and he's like, yeah, I'm going to come give you some money. And he never did. But I don't ask twice, because I'm not somebody who has my hand out. Genuinely, if I ask for help or financial assistance from anybody, I need it. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely need it. It's a struggle for me out here. It always has been. But I really try not to ever come in that manner, because I really do depend on God to provide for me. Right now in life, I've been backed into the corner. I've been backed into the corner and humanity has let me down. And all I have is Jesus. And it's kind of lonely because, like Jesus isn't like physically manifested here. So it's not like I really have a friend. Like I talk to him all the time, but I really am just talking to the thin air. Like I don't see him. I don't feel him. I just hope that I know he's listening because he's God. But, I do kind of wish I got to hang out with him more. I've only seen him. Well, when I had that heaven experience, that was the one time I saw him. And then I kept asking to see him because I was watching the Still Small Voice YouTube channel. But now it's heartdwellers.org. She's not on YouTube anymore. She was receiving like a lot of attacks, Claire. But man, she changed my life, yo. Like if I can credit any YouTuber out there for changing my life, like in a dramatic way, it was Claire and Ezekiel. Because I literally donated my last, like the last remaining amount of money in my bank account to them. Probably like June 2015, June or July 2015. I sent her like, I mean, it was my last hope, because I gave my life to Jesus January 2015 when I flushed all my dope down the toilet and decided to quit being a drug dealer. Mind you, I ended up going back to selling drugs 2 or 3 times after that. So when I went to hell after I fasted for the 3 days and flushed all the drugs down the toilet, and I went to hell and Satan was laughing at me and he said, "You'll be back." He was right. I came back. So, but I didn't stay for long because I hate that. That's not my nature and I don't like that lifestyle. And I think I speak for a lot of people in that lifestyle because most people that I know that are drug dealers or gangsters and stuff like that, they hate it too. And they're looking for a way out, And Jesus is the way out. But it's not an easy way out. It's a harder way out. Because the streets expect so much from you. The streets will tear you to pieces out here. Like they expect you to retaliate. They expect you to be vengeful and seek your own vengeance on people for doing you wrong. And if you don't do that, it's a sign of weakness, and that echoes throughout the streets that you didn't handle your business the appropriate way. But why is that? That's because of the conditioning from the entertainment industry, from the hip hop industry, promoting like that you have to live up to this image of being a gangster. And I know a lot of people right now, older than me, 40s, 50s, 60s, still trying to uphold that image of a gangster, to let people still know that they're in it, like, This chick robbed me, I shot her. Or like, it's always about shooting. You know, it's always shooting and gun violence and stabbings and breaking and enterings and robbing. I grew up like this, you know, like my dad, you know, at a very young age, you know, wasn't feeding me. You know, he neglected me my whole childhood, for one. He pawned us off on anybody he could for some money. I don't know how much he offered these people. He might have said, I'll give you $1,000 right now if you could watch my son for 6 months. And probably told somebody else, I'll give you $1,000 to watch my daughter for 6 months. It sounds good to people who live in a bad area, who are flat broke, you know, but we don't understand the concept of money here. You know, we do not operate and think on the level that people who have $250,000 homes and live in areas that have, you know, like 4,000 square feet, you know, like we live in dwellings with like 400 square feet. You know what I mean? Or I don't even want to get into square feet because I don't really understand that concept. But basically, like, we don't understand the concept of money at all. I mean, when we get it, we spend it. Why? Because we're so used to living with nothing. You know, if we get $1,000, you give anybody right now in my neighborhood $1,000, chances are 90% of that money will be gone by the weekend. If you give it to us on Friday, we'd be broke on Monday. Promise you. We don't understand the concept of money here. Very few of us do. You know, I know if I do get a large chunk of money, I spend it frivolously on the stupidest things I never need. But it's like, hey, I'm never going to have this type of money again. I don't know what it's going to be like to have money. So we blow it. We go get all the things that we've been waiting to get, things that we've been needing to get for the whole year, for the past 2 or 3 years. If we've been dying to get a new pair of shoes and we couldn't afford it, guess what? We're buying some really nice pair of shoes. We're getting that $200 outfit. That's not even like an expensive outfit for people who are rich, you know, or higher middle class, upper middle class. We just don't understand the concept of money here. You know what I'm saying? It's poverty for a reason, you know, because it's impoverished minds, you know. And ideally, though, we could become like the richest because we're so used to living poor that if we knew that we didn't have that money, like if you gave me $1,000 and I deposited it and then I acted like I didn't have it, it'd always be there because I'd never spend it. But it's always in the back of our mind that we have access to that money. So we start thinking of ways that we could spend the money, you know. And we're not dumb, you know. We invest. We're going to go buy drugs with it. That's what we're going to buy with it. If you give us a lump sum of money, 9 times out of 10, we're going to buy drugs with it to keep the money going. But that money will run out in a couple months because we're not going to be able to maintain that hustle. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know who's listening to this, you know, but if it's anybody that's well off, that has a roof over their head and not worried about bills or rent, utility bills or anything like that, then maybe it gives you guys an idea. But for me, it's welfare, you know. It's food stamps, it's PIP. You know, I need my utilities condensed. I need that my gas and my electric bill be at a set price every month. And or I just won't have gas or electricity. And that's the truth. And that's the truth for me right now. You know what I mean? So that's just something that I've always had to deal with. And that's why around tax time everybody has a new car, because we don't understand the concept of money. We'll go buy a foreign vehicle just to stunt, And we're not doing it to stunt. We're not doing it to like flaunt and throw this in other people's faces. I mean, we're doing this because we want to feel good about ourselves. You know what I mean? We're like in the mud. We're caked up in dirt, you know? So we could take a shower and get a clean outfit for the day. Man, you're going to see us smiling so bright. Like, we're just going to feel so good about ourselves. And that's really what it is. But it's always misinterpreted. It's even misinterpreted in the hood, you know? Like, oh, he got him a little bit of money. He think he the ish now and did this and that. You know what I mean? But it's deeper than that. I mean, God understands it. That's why God loves all of us, you know? Um, we go through a lot of pain when you're in poverty. It's a lot of pain here. But I'll tell you what, people here understand the struggle. So, you know, you're not going to get somebody wasting food and doing stuff like that here. Like, we always try to think of a way we can pass it on to somebody else because we know our neighbors need it. You know, we like, oh man, I bought this Little Caesars pizza. I couldn't eat it all. Let me go see if my neighbor want it, you know. And more than likely, they're going to take it. Or the guy on the corner. We always got people on the corner out here looking for money, you know. There's always somebody that needs something in this area, you know. And I'm on the west side hilltop of Columbus right now. But I lived in almost every hood in Columbus. You know, I was in North Linden, was on the east side. I lived on the south side, Carpenter, Hanford, Parsons area. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, when I was on the north side, it was Hudson, Weber area. You know what I mean? Near Cleveland Ave, and it's all hood. You know, it's all hood out here. It's all hard out here. It's not easy. There are success stories, you know, but sometimes, you know, the success isn't really a success, you know. I met a guy yesterday who worked at Spectrum, and he was just like, well, I just know that field is growing, so I will have longevity in his career, so that's why I chose it. And you know, it's not for me to like, and I don't even want to say correct everybody, but I want to say enlighten people about the reality of things. Spectrum used to be Time Warner. Time Warner perpetuates mind control because they're constantly trying to get people to um, buy cable television programming. However, we're in a new era right now where um, people are waking up and people are not wanting to be slaves. I mean, the internet, they thought the internet was the intranet, you know, and it was like for the military initially. I'm schooling y'all on some stuff here because I study. but um but once it went public, you know, they still had the dark web, you know, for their government activities, their sinister evil ways. And the government is very satanic and very evil. Like, this is Satan's world, and it's so backwards that all the rich people, they contribute to this evilness, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So if you have a good job, you have to really, really look at it and see why it's a good job. Why are you being paid well? Because you probably are part of a conglomerate of negative energies that are keeping the world in the state that it's in, you know. I hope that didn't sound too like intelligent or like sophisticated, because I'm not trying to make it sound that way, but I'm just trying to break it down. But I didn't understand all this at 18. You know what I mean? Like, music was everything to me at that age, you know. That's all I listened to was that music. And the thing is there's a reason why you always hear the same songs on the radio. It's programming. You know, they have enough music in the world that you would never have to listen to the same song twice. That's the truth. That really is the truth. And so the people that are in heavy rotation, you know, there's a price they have to pay to be in heavy rotation. And it's not all that they're the hottest artists at the time. Mind you, look at the word hot, hottest, right? Hell, burning. Lit. Lit is another word right now. What does lit mean? Hell, burning. You know what I mean? Um, Another thing, oh, that's dope. Is dope good? No, it's not good. But to some people it is, because it provides a temporary exit from reality, you know? That's why so many people are hooked on drugs. Does not make them bad people. I was a drug addict, heavily, you know? And my drug now is Jesus, obviously. But it was hard to let go of all of those things and just follow Jesus. And I actually got invited to church today, so I might go do that. And I've been weary of going to churches because I've had so many bad experiences. Like, I really hate going to church. I'm sorry to say that. I know I'm a follower of Jesus and I'm a Christian. And I kind of got in a little debate tonight with my friend in Trinidad. Got a really good friend in Trinidad. She's a really good person. We all have flaws, of course, but um, I love everybody. Everybody here is my brothers and sisters, and you know, it's hard for me to be around people now. You know, I've just been abused by society to no end. That I'm just so thankful that God, you know, brought me to this place where I'm at. From the outside looking in, it probably doesn't look great that I got a crappy apartment in the hood, but the rent's cheap. I can afford it. And I promise you, if it was any more, I wouldn't make it. You know, like it's actually at a comfortable level that I asked for, and I'm shocked that I even found something at this, you know, at this price. And a lot of times when I tell people that, they want to move in. Like, oh yeah, is there another apartment for rent? Like, nope, maximum occupancy, you know. And I don't see anybody leaving here anytime soon because we know we got it made, you know. I mean, it's tough because the environment, you know, and we got to deal with a lot of crap living here. But we could always shut our door. And I don't have, you know, as much as I tell people here, like, don't knock on my door, they never listen. They just don't care, you know. But that's fine. You can knock on my door. I don't got to answer it. So they'll learn. And they have. You know what I mean? Because I will usually yell at somebody. I won't even open the door. I'll just be like, what the F do you want? Get the F off my porch. I'm not answering. But now I got a camera, so now I don't even got to go to the door. I can just talk through my camera. Like, please get off my property. Please get away. I don't want what you're selling. I'm not interested. I don't have any money to give you. I hate to be this way, but gosh, I mean, it's just non-stop harassment from everywhere I go, like in some form or fashion. It's just inevitable. I mean, no wonder I tried to kill myself so many times. I mean, this is an overwhelming time to be alive. And if you feel the same way, you are not alone. I feel right with you. I identify with that deeply, you know. Um, I want to be in nature with the animals. You know, like that is like that is heaven to me, you know. It's just it's basic, it's simple, and I love it, you know. Like, I don't have any animals right now. I wish I did, but I would just neglect them and it just wouldn't be good, you know, because I work so much. I mean, my whole day is working. Like, lately I've tried to incorporate other activities, like going to the gym and boxing, and now I'm gonna try to incorporate church. But there's just no time to do all these things. Not when you have to work like 10 to 12 hours a day to make a living. So, oh gosh, it's a tough life, you know. And I'm sure everybody on this level that I'm at, we all have 3 jobs. If you don't have 3 jobs, I'm sorry, you're not gonna make it. I got 3 jobs and I'm barely making it. Like I scrape by every month, and I gotta put everything in priority. Like what's most important? Obviously, rent, car note, utilities, food, and if I have anything left over, maybe. So I'm not always able to pay that boxing gym fee to go train. And honestly, I've been debating of whether I want to continue doing it. I haven't been there in like 2 weeks now, because I actually realized like it was a ritual. I mean, I was following that sport so heavily. I mean, I'm talking about people know me as a regular at like Buffalo Wild Wings and BBR and just certain places like Champs, um, wherever I can go to catch the fight and I don't have to go pay to watch it on pay-per-view, you're going to see me there. And it's a problem if you're not playing the fight. And people get mad. They're like, man, you're like the only person in here requesting to watch this UFC fight. Everybody's in here watching the game. So, yeah, we're not going to play it for you. You got to go somewhere else. And I'll be like, F you, F you. You need to know ESPN just picked up UFC this year. You guys don't know. Like I'm fighting for that sport. And not no more. Like for the last 2 weeks, um, I'm trying to change my ways. Like gosh, it's so hard. Like it's so embedded in you. But I'm gonna end this because my nose is getting stuffy. So there'll just have to be a part 3 to my testimony. All right, peace.